found a curbside dresser in my neighborhood that is so perfect for adding legs, and I've been really intimidated but wanting to try the DIY wife tutorial and build legs for a dresser. So I'm going to give that a try in this video. This isn't a tutorial for that, and I'll make sure to link her video if you want to see the tutorial that she has. That's amazing, and that many of us furniture refinishers have tried. And I'm just excited to give this thing a makeover. It would be beautiful without legs too. I do think that this is like the perfect candidate. You can see that it's a really well made dresser. It would be considered vintage. It's not solid wood though, through and through. I noticed as I was loading it into the car, it has this particle board top, and the outside feels very slippery, like laminate, like definitely some kind of plasticky type of outside coating. And they nicely numbered all these drawers for us, which is great. However, a few of the drawers are not sliding as smoothly as they should. And then you can see there's just some, like some crafty type of spills that happen in the drawer, and we'll take care of that. But nice wood slides. I love a wood slide. And nice and clean on the inside. And I did spray this down with Odoban and left it outside. Just let it air out. And then I'm just going to go through and give it a good cleaning. After about 10 times trying to get the same crevices clean on this dresser, I just am going to assume that I'll need to do a shellac-based primer. I don't think that it is dirt at that point coming up because, this is obviously dirt here in this shot, but on those drawer crevices, I'm not really sure if it was like, is it staying at that point or what? But there was some bubbling on the side of the veneer. And I think the top is like a laminate, but the sides are a wood veneer. So I'm going to try to get some wood glue in between those crevices and clamp it down. And hopefully, since there's no missing pieces, I could just sand it and go about what I need to do. Getting in the crevices is really tricky. And so actually, I need one of those needles to get in there, but don't have one. Then I'm just clamping it down with some Reynolds Wrap wax paper, butcher paper. You can get the generic butcher paper. I have it linked in my Amazon shop if you're interested. And cross your fingers. These drawers actually had a lot of texture on them. A lot, actually, of wood grain texture. So I debated on whether or not to fill it in, but instead, Brad just went out there and filled the main dings, and usually I just fill about 80% of the dings, and I'm not a perfectionist by any means. And then I'm going to go in with some shellac-based primer. This dresser is originally from the 60s, and so I thought I'd stay true to that retro modern look by going with a brighter, bolder color palette and a darker wood tone for the base. And it's just a fun time period to observe and, to do research on, that they were doing these bright pops of color because they were expressing themselves in a time where, they had just kind of shaken off some of the formalities and, structures from the past, and people were just doing bolder colors and patterns. And I think that's really cool to just let this piece represent that highly creative time, and that it could be a conversation piece, a focal point, and just add excitement, but still be completely functional. And I hope that I have done something kind of fun and vibrant, but that it's also still very sellable in my market. So fingers crossed, and I'll keep you guys posted. Now, you guys know at this point I use all different types of paint, and some paints are better than others for specific cases. One thing I really like about Benjamin Moore Advance is that you can sand it, and it is very hard. The surface, you know how sometimes you can take your fingernail and you can press it into those like more latexy type paints, and it'll leave your fingernail print? That doesn't really happen with Benjamin Moore Advance. It is certainly stronger than 99% of the paints that I've used, as far as like the hardness that happens. It reminds me a lot actually of Wise Owl 1 hour enamel. I don't know if any of you have used that, but we used to use that almost exclusively in my business. But what I have found is that there seems to be a bit of a trade-off with paints. If it's really hard, the surface cures and it's very, very hard, it is more likely to chip off when you bump into it. And if it is a softer paint that is a little bit more, it's got a little bit more rubber feeling to it, it is more likely to, if you bump into it, not chip, but it has the possibility of peeling at some point. So, you know, have they invented the perfect paint yet? I don't know. I don't think I've found it. Anyway, Brad is here working on the wood base for this, and he followed the DIY wife tutorial and that she has, and then many other people have done it as well. This is not a tutorial for the base. If you want to go watch that, you can check it out on her YouTube channel. He was able to build this base in an afternoon, including going to the hardware store and picking up the wood. And all the cuts that you have to make are basically just done with a circular saw. It does help if you have a saw that tilts to the side. And it turned out really great, and we love it. Just make sure that you measure. I would recommend measuring your wood with the furniture, not necessarily going by using a tape measure, because we ended up having to buy some more wood and ended up with some mismeasurements. So just, you know, double check it with your actual piece of furniture, like put it up against there before you cut, is all I will say. And then going in with some Java Brown Rustoleum Glaze is one of my favorite colors, and I use this all the time in lots of different projects, and it makes a really great stain.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not, you know, as toxic as like a
Pretty.
oil-based type stain, so I really like using it.
And wipe it so it leaves the stain. Oh, that's pretty.
I'm really geeking out because it looks so cool. Even more important than adding character to this piece is adding height, and that makes it more valuable and easier to sell in our market, because now it's a very versatile piece. It can be used as a dresser, it can be used as a TV console, it can be used as a buffet, it can be used as an entryway table. It has so much more purpose, and it's going to be a lot easier to sell this way. As we were just about to wrap up this dresser, we actually had to take a break and go to a wedding. So we got cleaned up for once, and this beautiful wedding was just amazing. It was a dancer friend of mine getting married, and then Little Nugget got to go for a ride. This was way up in North Georgia, which is so beautiful. If you haven't heard of Blue Ridge, Georgia, it's just a beautiful place to go visit. They have cabins and things like that, and they actually have a lot of antique shops too. But it was time to get back to work the next day. This dresser was missing several of those little plastic things that a lot of times they help the drawer slide in easier. I don't know the technical term. On Amazon it was listed as a slide. So, but anyway, I'll link those. What's that say?
4.
Help me put it in.
Yep. No, we just have to. Oh.
We just gently cleaned the hardware and put the same stuff back on, and now it is time to take a look at the before, guys. It's a really cool dresser as is, but ta-da! Here's the after. Excited with how this turned out, and even more excited to list it for sale on Facebook Marketplace. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!